Hey, hey, do you hear what they're talking about over there? What? Huh? What? What are you talking about? I don't know. It sounds kind of weird. Make me a little curious, though. We should go over there. Wanna go over there? Yeah, come on, let's go over there.
Hello, welcome again to a lovely Thursday. We're here with Whispering at the Party. My name is Carol. We have Marge, and of course, we have Lynn today. So today's topic is going to be about shadow work. And so, yes, very exciting topic. So, if you do not know what shadow work is, it's an unconscious aspect of self. And yes, and Carl Jung is actually one of the ones that have provided a lot of information about shadow work. So yes. So anyways, I guess I will pull a card. The deck that I decided to use today was Archangel Michael, because since we are talking about shadow work, I thought that would be a good deck.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so let's begin. Hope everybody had a good day or is having a good evening or good morning, etc., etc.
Wherever you are, whenever you hear us.
Yes. All right, let's see what Archangel Michael has to talk to today about shadow work. All right, so we got be gentle with yourself. Really pretty card. And the Indian holding a sheep in the background. Of course, the wings are flowing. This card says to please guide, to ask Archangel Michael actually to please guide yourself to treating you with gentleness, nurturing love in everything that you need, speak, and do. Help to know that you deserve the compassion, release of any feelings of guilt, and that you may experience inner peace.
That's a good one.
Yes. So it's funny that we are talking today about shadow work because you are having to deal. The way I look at shadow work is dealing with those inner demons, and sometimes it's hard for us to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as humans, we're so hard on ourselves already. So this card speaking to us today is just telling you to be gentle with yourself, nurture yourself, do a lot of maybe emotional healing on yourself, just to kind of get you away from those negative thoughts, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, March, in your experience, what do you feel shadow work is, or what it's all about?
I think shadow work to me is recognizing things that are deep-seated. And you're not consciously aware of things in your past that may be impacting the way you react to things now. And so recognizing that when something triggers you, stopping and thinking about, why am I reacting this way? If it's not a way you want to be reacting. There's so many times where somebody will say something or do something and you automatically feel yourself getting tense, like, why am I upset about this? And evaluating that is kind of a way of recognizing where you might have things that you want to deal with. Personally, I try to look at those things as a way to recognize and put an anti-trigger in, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
you feel it and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that this is the same thing that happens. And this is probably why it happens. And I just choose not to respond that way anymore.
Yes, no, absolutely. I so agree with you. I know sometimes I feel like I'm going back there as well. But before I start speaking, Lynn, what do you feel shadow work is?
Um, for me, shadow work is just being real with yourself. It's not saying the parts you usually push away, like the anger, the fear, the insecurity, because we're not perfect, and saying, "Hey, I see you." Like, it's not about being perfect. It's about being honest, and that's where real healing starts. Start embracing.
Good answer.
Yes,
I
no,
like
I
that.
agree. It's definitely about those repressed emotions that we tend to keep within ourselves. And
Mhm.
that's truly not good for anybody, especially with um, just things that you are out of your control and you can't really truly control them. Um, I know sometimes I'm like Marge. I know when I'm driving, I get so frustrated with a lot of our drivers here, and that might I have to realize like, okay, I got to just step back. I'm gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine, and have to kind
Yeah.
of tell myself about that because it can start your day off whether you're already in a good mood, and then that happens, and you're already getting yourself triggered, and
Hmm.
it's not going to hurt anybody but yourself because obviously the drivers can't hear you yelling at them. So,
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So, yeah, I would say the first probably step um, of what we're talking about today, which I kind of just lost my train of thought, but shadow work is self awareness, just being aware of your surroundings, feeling how you are having to deal with that type of stuff, addressing any issues that you feel you're having to deal with. And of course, reducing stressful stuff that may have happened through the days.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Um, March, how do you on the day to day, let's say you're having a beautiful day, it's a perfect day, and then all of a sudden somebody just comes into your field already in an angry mode, and how would you address that, dealing with what we're talking about today?
I have a tendency to assign an age to their behavior, and it's usually an under 12 age or under 15 age. And then I have compassion for them because they must be going through something, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
and we all have our moments where we're returning to our childhood temper tantrums, or they're just not behaving the way you think they should for their age. And we're all in different parts in our journey, and you don't know what's happened to that person during the day. And I try to have real compassionate feelings for them and say, okay, let's talk about this. And if they're not in the mode to talk about it, then I'm like, then I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. And I remove myself because I don't want to absorb it and start on that cycle of reacting in the same manner. Because the energy behind somebody else's attitude, whether it's good or bad, is contagious.
Hmm.
And the bad, I don't need the negativity.
No, no, I agree. It's truly about their behavior, especially in that moment.
Yeah.
And of course, you never know what somebody may be going through that day, and it could be.
Yeah.
I guess you would have to put yourself in those shoes, like walking
Right.
someone else's shoes, because you just don't know what
Yeah.
could, yeah, be
Yeah,
going
it could
on.
be something that the doctor told them that they're upset about, that down deep, or their pet got lost, or their child was hurt, or you just don't know what is actually causing the problem. And it's may have nothing to do with you, most likely nothing to do with you.
No, I agree. How about you, Lynn? How do you handle situations like that?
If a friend comes to me angry while I'm feeling happy, I take a breath and remind myself it's not about me. No,
Hmm.
I listen without taking it personally,
Hmm.
hold space for their feelings, and try not to match their energy. Sometimes being the calm in someone else's storm is the best way to protect your peace and support them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I know March does that all the time. The calm before the storm, or the storm before the
Storm before the calm.
Yeah.
calm. One of those. Perfect. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll pull another card because I am thinking Michael's like a hello. Grab another card. Grab another card. So let's just see what else is
Go with
in
the
store
flow.
for us. Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think, yeah, it's a very good topic today. If y'all are just joining us too, we're talking about shadow work. So we've got the card. The person you are asking for is trustworthy. So let's see what it has to say. Thank you for helping others have faith. Open your heart wider in any type of relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship. Be grateful for your protection, ensuring that only trustworthy people are in your life. So the way I see this card with Archangel Michael is just saying to be aware of your surroundings. I know when we're dealing with shadow work, sometimes we can be truly trustworthy. I know me personally, I'm very, very trustworthy until you prove me wrong otherwise, but I'm very, very trustworthy. You know, I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt simply because we do not know what others are going through in that moment. And so I'm not saying to trust everybody all the time, but just be cautious with your feelings and your emotions when you're having a kind of a bad vibe about that person or something. Then maybe something might be a little off.
Yeah, listen to your heart.
Yeah.
You
So
know, that gut feeling is real.
mhm. It
Your heart just
really,
knows.
no, it really is. I mean, with shadow work, you know, there's many ways too you can also improve in relationships. I know not every relationship on this planet is going to be perfect. If y'all find it perfect, let us know, please.
Mm,
But you have to work at it. You have to work at it, regardless it's a work relationship, a love relationship, you know, a pet relationship. You have to constantly work at it to specifically together to
right.
build that trust. You some people don't trust relationships, you know, right off the whim, yeah, the
Yep.
whim, and some people do, and so you kind of have to correlate with, you know, do I trust this person enough? Do I not trust this person? And like you said, Marge, listen to that gut feeling.
Mhm.
So yeah, how would you, any of you, Marge or Lynn, how would y'all define um, trusting a person or even with a relationship?
I'm kind of like you. I have a tendency to give people the benefit of the doubt until they
Mhm.
prove me wrong. So once I start seeing things, then I start looking more carefully. I am not, people have a tendency to treat other people like they are,
Yes.
right? So suspicious people should be suspected. And honest and open people are probably pretty honest and open. So
Yes.
it's just a different way of looking at it. Another thing with the trust too, while you were talking there, I was thinking that trust relationship would also be built with spirit. You have to build that relationship with your guides and your angels and your spirits that are
Mhm.
around you, because that trust is really important. It's going to be really hard for you to follow your flow if you haven't built that relationship.
No, I agree. I agree. I know sometimes spirit's the hardest one to build a relationship with,
Yeah.
because a lot of people just don't quite understand it. How about
Yeah.
you, Lynn? How would you deal with like that?
Um, s- as what I have said, sometimes your heart just knows. The
Hmm.
person you're asking about feels safe, steady, and real. Like you can exhale around them. Trust that feeling. Not everyone earns it, but some people truly are trustworthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
I would also add in dealing with shadow work in relationships, you start to learn patterns of a person, and sometimes those patterns can trigger you, and because you're like, you know, you were one way, and or sometimes as they call it the honeymoon phase, and then all of a sudden you just totally completely change. And
Hmm.
so improving on relationships, you know, you trust a person until they prove you wrong or otherwise. And so that's another thing too, just learning the interactions of the individual that, you know, you're trying to trust, and like I said, in the relationship, regardless if it's work and so forth. So that's just another way of helping with shadow work too.
Yeah.
um, yeah,
You
so
recognize patterns and things that
mhm.
that are maybe you keep choosing the wrong person over and over. and there's a reason behind that, and evaluating that and figuring that out could be part of your shadow work.
Yes. Yeah. I think with relationships too, like however you are portraying yourself out there within the time that you're moving on along, that's the kind of person that you'll attract. So if you're always angry, that's the kind of relationship that's going to be attracted to you. If you're all
Mm-hmm.
happy, that's the relationships that's going to be attracted to you. So,
True.
yeah. So I agree with what you're saying because relationships, regardless of whatever they are, they're not a bed of roses, I guess you could say all the
Yeah.
time.
Well, and I don't think they're supposed to be. If they were, they would be taken for granted much more. If you have to work for something, you appreciate it more.
Oh, that's true. That's true. This is true. Um, Improving on relationships. I mean, I know I want to go there because I know people. When I help people with tarot cards, relationships is a big, big one that always comes up, and so I can tell you, just you're gonna learn from each soulmate that you think that may be the one, and that soulmate is just there to like give you a learning experience. And so that's why I'm saying, when you are within that relationship, you want to get to know that person. And yes, you want to make sure that the trust is there because that's the biggest factor in a
Yeah,
relationship.
true.
Yeah. So,
That's true.
yes.
So what other
So,
kinds
anyway,
of shadow work have you seen people doing?
well, there's emotional healing, which is helping yourself, self healing, emotional healing. I mean, there might be some traumatic experiences that people have had in the past, and it's brought down. From what I understand, sometimes the traumatic experiences are brought down from generation to generation, and sometimes those have to, yeah, it's hard to break those patterns. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, I would say that would be probably a big one. And so people don't realize that what happened many moons ago, it's brought into yours. Like, your parents may have done something and then so forth and so forth. And so I just think, that could be something that you're still trying to cope with and deal with because of a generation to generation.
yeah. The reactions and the thoughts behind certain things can be taught from parent to child to parent to child to parent to child, and you
Mm-hmm.
may have not had it yourself, but somebody else in your lineage, in your sphere, did.
Yes. I know that I'm sure like with Lynn and her kids, like I'm just using you as an example then, but uh, but I think when you're teaching your kids, and sometimes kids experience, not that you're, but like experience something bad behavior, or they see it, then they grow up saying, I don't want to be like that, or so. Having that said, Lynn, have you ever noticed anything like that with your kids? Like if they see something you do and or something they may have seen, previously. I know your kids are little.
Yeah, they actually follow what you're acting like because they're just kids and they feel like it's normal, so they follow
Hmm.
that. They do that. So
Yeah.
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 Your kids. Yeah, I'm just saying that because I also know, like, sometimes if kids are in a traumatic relationship, for the parents are just bickering all the time and stuff, and the kids see that, some kids will be like, that's not right to do. And
Right.
so then from there, all that trauma that built in, then the kid changes, or the child changes that pattern.
Right.
That's kind of what I
Purposely
was
and
trying to say.
pointedly.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to really in over here in this, since we are talking about how to work.
Yeah.
Because, and then it stopped there, and because I kids are very smart. You know, they pick up on everything and every little thing, and so that's just another aspect of shadow work being done. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's an interesting conversation. I wish Murray was here because he really, really focuses a lot on shadow work in his practice. But I've often wondered, did shadow work mean something bad? It doesn't necessarily mean something bad. It just means something that you don't want to have anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of Googled it before we got on, and I can kind of tell you shadow work is a psychological, spiritual practice aimed
Mhm.
at exploring and integrating the unconscious aspect of self.
Yep.
So, yeah. I know shadow work is nothing bad. You're right. People may look at it as, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing, but
Yeah.
it's truly not. It's basically helping you better you if you look at it that way in the long run.
Right.
Everything, yeah. You're
Yeah,
trying to improve.
if you've got something under control or you've got something that you've recognized, once you recognize it, okay, I'm going to be a girl here. When you recognize you've got PMS, you handle it differently, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day for me, but but you handle it differently because you're aware
Yeah.
of it. And so
Hmm.
becoming aware of things that um, make you have you reacting in a way that you don't want to do that anymore, recognizing that pattern in yourself will help you manage it and alter your reaction times moving forward.
Yeah, that's true. Ah, because we go through a lot. I'm sure Alicia would be happy to hear that. We go through so much. But we have, and I'm sure men do too, but just they handle things differently than we do as women. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
that's one
Well, there's
thing.
cycles longer. It's a different story.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Not
trust me.
such drastic ups and downs.
First of all, men don't have to go through birth. Let's just start there. That's
Yeah.
the biggest. If they gave birth, oh my God, that would be a whole different story in itself.
There'd be a lot less children in the world.
um,
Um,
but what does help shadow work is meditation, which Murray does a lot of. I mean, we all do meditation,
yeah.
or we've had also podcasts on meditation where everybody doesn't have to go sit in a yoga position to meditate. You can just meditate when you're in that moment.
Yeah.
Um, that's a good method to help with shadow work, if something's not working for you.
Right.
Another one is what you do, Marge, is journaling.
Journaling. And
Journaling
tapping.
and tapping. Yes. Um, is there anything that either one of you do, since we are on the topic about what you do to help improve or facilitate through your shadow work?
I meditate and journal.
Okay.
That's a that just really helps. The journaling, most of my journal is about gratitude, but
Mhm.
when I do recognize a pattern through recognition and meditation, I'll be appreciative of it in the journal. Or if I do automatic writing, sometimes it comes up there too.
Nice. Yes, I remembered you, Jordan. What about you, and what do you do to
Um,
facilitate
uh,
or improve your
I reflect and then meditate.
nice? Yeah, another one too would be also like therapy. I know a lot of my the staff that works with me, they go through to therapy almost every week, and that helps alleviate some of that shadow work that they're working on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do get them ask me, is there something wrong with me? No, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just dealing with something in that moment, and you're dealing with it the best way that you know how. And if therapy helps you release some of that stress and tension, by all means, do what you truly need to do to get by, especially when you're having to deal with a lot of strenuous stuff.
That's where friends from different walks of life and different age groups is helpful. And having a true friend that'll tell you, you know, you shouldn't be doing that, or somebody that's really honest with you, not just a fair weather friend. And the community is helpful.
Yes, yes. Neuvias is a community, by the way, people.
Yep.
Come and check us out at our website. Another one too is self-reflection. I mean, a lot of people probably give and give and give, but they don't remember about themselves. So having that said, how do you do your self-reflection for shadow work if that's something that you have to go through? Either one. Sorry.
Lynn?
Okay, so whenever I reflect, I also see if I'm the one's wrong or not. For me, overcoming shadow work isn't about fixing yourself. It's about getting comfortable with your targets because we are not perfect. So it's being kind when old wounds resurface and taking time to heal instead of running from the pain. So it's a journey, not a destination. So take it one step at a time.
Perfect.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent.
Yes. What about you, Marge? How do you handle that?
I close my eyes. No, I'm kidding.
Like, what work? I don't need to do work.
Nothing wrong here. We're fine. No, I'll sit with it, and frequently I'll go outside in the sun and sit with them. If something's hitting me hard, then I definitely have to get on the ground and sit with it in the sun.
Yes.
And make sure I'm writing and speaking to my guides.
No, I totally agree. With shadow work, it does require a lot of vulnerability, and a lot of times people are so strong and stern, and I'm set in my ways, and I'm in my power, and so sometimes things can go so good and your defense mechanisms all up. So sometimes it helps to be just a little bit vulnerable to help you with that type of shadow work. Because who knows, that you might see a strong person out there and you think, oh my God, the world's working in their favor. But they might come home and they're alone and there's nobody to talk to. And, they're having to show a whole different persona of themselves. In reality, you truly don't know that they go home and they're isolated, they're alone, they're depressed. So things like that are just it. It takes a lot of courage to kind of have somebody come up with being vulnerable when we're dealing with shadow work.
That's true.
So,
I really like the way Lynn said it, though, that with recognizing those parts of yourself and making peace with them.
Yes.
Not trying to get rid of them because they are part of you and they're part of me, what makes you wonderful, but tempering them perhaps, or recognizing and saying, I'm okay, forgiving yourself for being imperfect.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely about uncomfortable truth about oneself. There's a lot of things that nobody's perfect. Nobody's ever going to be perfect,
Yep.
And so it's just finding that within you to let it go and even talk about it. Talk about it, journal about it, meditate on it. So those things do help improve with shadow work and working and fighting those inner demons that you struggle with.
And love yourself anyway.
Absolutely, 120%. Well, 100 plus infinity. We'll just say that.
There we
Love
go.
yourself. I'll pull a last card here before we do get off, just to see what else is out there for us in dealing with the shadow work.
Good.
so far, some good insight. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop us some lines. We will definitely reach out to you when you see this lovely podcast.
Yes.
All right. So we have your home is protected by angels.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Archangel Michael says, thank you for watching over the home. This is asking Archangel Michael to watch over your home and its inhabitants. Ask that your guardian angels keep an eye on your windows, just to extra protection. Your door, ensuring that it's secure. Yeah, you have security. And then, of course, guiding you through your finances to make sure that abundance is coming into the flow of the home. And that way you could pay your rent, your mortgage, your bills, and so forth. So, yeah, so when you actually ask the angels to help you with protection, I mean, they're giving you their fullest attention, and they're not going to stir you any direction. I would probably say the reason this card came out is because I know a lot of us struggle with rent. Like, how am I going to pay this bill? And you stress yourself, and the anxiety comes up, and you don't want to ask for help, and it's just a lot of that. Like, it's going to be okay. I know it's easier saying than doing, but
Right.
everything will be okay. I know sometimes things work in a different light for other people, but just know that things are a little tough, but it does get better. It does get better. So, yeah. What do you think about this protecting by angels, Len or Marge, about shadow work with protecting your home?
Then go ahead. If you're ready. Otherwise I can.
Yeah, I just want to say that your home is more than just walls and it's a place where your spirit rests. So know that angels are always nearby, watching over you in your space, bringing peace and protection when you need it most. So trust that you're never truly alone, and your home is surrounded by love.
Yep. You couldn't be alone if you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Not truly alone.
Yeah.
I think with the protection part of that, with the home and what you were saying about the finances, has a lot to do with some of the fears that people may be facing at different points in their lives, at different points along their journey, and asking for that help is the key, because they can't. There are certain things that the angels can do, but some things you have to ask for. And if you ask for that kind of help, you'll get it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I will say too, with shadow work, a lot of the fear that's in shadow work is also, once again, is the social media. You really have to be careful with what you're watching. If you're continuously scrolling and watching the news or something bad, and something else comes up and it's bad, and something else is bad, I mean, just listen to your inner self, because you don't really truly have the proof of what is truly going on around you. This is why I say just worry about you and those that are close to you, because you need to take care of you first before you can go into everything else. I know there's a lot of craziness at this moment going on, and it's hard when you're having to already deal with already so much on your plate, and then deal with a lot of other social media stuff that you don't even know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
So just being
Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, just having that self-awareness is truly key.
Yeah. Remember, the law of attraction is real. And what you bring into your life and you amplify through your energy, because you're consuming it, you're amplifying it, and you're just making it even bigger and drawing more of it to you. So better to kind of stay away from all that stuff that makes you anxiety ridden.
No,
And if that
I
has to
agree.
be the egg aisle at the grocery store, don't get eggs for a little while. Just stuff like that people will get really pointed at. The gasoline prices, for a while it was that, then it was eggs, and pretty soon it'll be cars or mortgage rates or whatever it happens to be here in the States. And if you focus on something, that's where you're gonna notice more of.
Mm-hmm.
Scientifically, they've proven that. It's
Yeah.
not just woo-woo. It's real. Scientifically proven.
No, I agree. I tell them I don't give that energy. If I listen to something or something's, I will not give it energy because I am not. I can say this over and over. I'm just not going to live in that fear because,
Yeah.
like I said, fear only creates more fear. Worry only creates more worry, and so I choose not to live there.
Yep.
Yes, live in the peace in the present. So.
Yeah. We'll go into fear. We've had our fear conversations before.
Yes, no, we have. Well, before we close out tonight is or tomorrow, today, or this morning, or however y'all are looking at this, is there anything you'd like to add, Marge?
I think that if you maintain your relationship with yourself and your closest allies, which would be your friends, your family, and your guides and angels and God, then you're okay. Stay in the present, and as shadows come up, you'll deal with them. And you've got a whole group of people and entities to help you. And Nuvias too, if you want. Come on over, we'll help you out.
No, I agree. What about you, Lynn? Any closing?
Um, I just want to say that shadow work is more than just facing your fears. It's about embracing all parts of you, even the messy ones. So you are not alone in this journey. With every step, you are surrounded by support and the guidance to help you grow.
Yep.
So trust the path. Trust this path. It is leading you to a more peaceful, um, freedom and self-love.
Amen.
Yes, well said. Um, this is all we have tonight. I hope y'all enjoyed our podcast. Be sure to check us out at neuvias.com. Amazing stuff there, by the way. And we hope to see you next Thursday at our wonderful time at the same time. Love and light to you all. Take care.
Thank you. Love y'all.
Love you.